accessed the charge sheet of the Pravin Nettaru murder case. The charge sheet mentions service squads and kill squads were used to assassinate Nettaru. NIA also highlighted the PFI planned, plotted and conspired to kill Nettaru, further exposing the role of killer PFI squads to assassinate prominent Hindu leaders. PFI carried out the murder of Pravin Nettaru for revenge and in retaliation as well. Viewers, now the PFI had planned to murder Hindu leaders and hatched a plan to murder them in 3 days. 4 targets were chosen. And I'm being joined right now by Prajwal joining us for more details. Prajwal, we have accessed the charge sheet of Pravin Nettaru murder case and it has a couple of details, rather shocking details coming out. Prajwal, take our viewers through exactly what we have learned.
Shivangi, this particular charge sheet which Republic has accessed is the full charge sheet in the Pravin Nettaru murder case, which has been submitted by the NIA. This charge sheet is of 69 pages and now it is clearly being stated about the role of Pravin Nettaru here, because the PFI State Working Committee in Karnataka had given a go-ahead for Pravin Nettaru's murder. This has been clearly mentioned in the summary of the NIA charge sheet which has been submitted to the court as well. And now the role of the service squads are also being taken into account here, because these service squads went on and worked as bodyguards for PFI leaders, and later they were sent out to carry out hits and assassination of RSS leaders, BJP leaders and Hindu leaders as well. Now the weapons which were used for the assassination was kept in schools, madrasas, masjids and also the house of PFI sympathizers, not only in Mangaluru but also across the entire district of Dakshina Kannada. And 21 mosques were basically being used by the accused to carry out unlawful activities to destabilize law and order situation across Dakshina Kannada district is what the NIA report has stated. The NIA has also mentioned stating that they wanted to carry out murders in full public vicinity. The PFI wanted to carry out murders in full public vicinity so that they could go on to achieve their goal of establishing an Islamic state by 2047. So these are some serious charges that is being made by the NIA, which has been mentioned in the charge sheet. Now also in page number 31, I want to focus on the charge sheet here, Shivangi. Page number 31 mentions about the wounds and the brutality of the hit which Pravin Nettaru had received, because there were 30 wounds found on his body and more than 10 to 12 wounds which was found on his head itself, and there is also a picture attached, but viewer discretion is advised because these are gory images which has been put in the charge sheet, which mentions that Pravin Nettaru was murdered on the 26th of July in Bellare, and he was purposely targeted on his head and his body as well, so that his death would be instant and he would bleed to death in full public vicinity. Initially 2 to 3 people start hitting Pravin Nettaru, and later a group of 10 to 12 people hack him in front of full public view, even as they remained mere spectators. Now the NIA, one main thing is the fact over here, Shivangi, which is very disturbing, is that on the 25th of July, a day before the murder, Pravin Nettaru had a conversation with his friend Charan Raj, which has now been accessed. This audio tape has now been accessed by the NIA, which points out to the fact that Nettaru had gone on to state that there were several unknown people who were following him on bikes, and he strongly suspected that there could be a hit on him or somebody could go on and attack him. And this was mentioned by Pravin Nettaru to his friend Charan Raj, and Pravin Nettaru also had mentioned that he wanted to install CCTVs at his residence and at his place of work so as to monitor the move of these miscreants. And later it is now being learnt in this particular charge sheet by NIA that the plot to hack Pravin Nettaru was hatched in mainly 2 masjids. One of the masjid is Jamia Masjid at Bellare, and the second one is Juma Masjid in Sulya. And all these assassins gathered at the KVG ground in Sulya and put a sketch copy. They got a sketch copy, they readied the entire sketch, and this sketch copy was seized by the NIA at the house of accused number 10 in Pravin Nettaru's murder case, that is Shahid. And And once they found the sketch copy and also the place of the murder, the sketch copy and the place of murder also correlates to the findings of the NIA here. And this particular sketch copy is available on page number 34 of the charge sheet, which we have been able to access. Now, the PFI also had gone on to plan to assassinate several Hindu leaders, and the preparations were such that they had also planned to accumulate more weapons, the place of murder, the potential targets who had a large reach in public life as well. And two groups, mainly three groups were selected here, Shivangi. The first group would only identify potential targets. The second group would go on and track the targets. And the third group would go on and conduct the recce where they thought that the targets would be most vulnerable and they would not be accompanied by anyone. Now, the NIA has also gone on to find more information in the murder regarding Pravesh Nettaru, and largely also showing the fact that PFI had gone on to form 40 killer units, 40 service squads across Dakshina Kannada, and all these 40 units were working out from 21 masjids, and they had been sheltered for a period of 6 months. And apart from that, the agenda copy of the PFI has also been accessed by the NIA. There are mainly 8 to 10 agendas which has been mentioned. One is Fatiha. Fatiha is the first verse of Quran, where these perpetrators take an oath in the name of Islam, in the name of Allah, and state that they will carry out these murders and they will not let anybody to go on and object to this. The second one is to fight single-handedly, no matter what the amount of people who are there. And also the fourth agenda of the PFI was to find out talent members who could carry out recce and assassinations of the Hindu and RSS leaders. And the seventh agenda is to form teams to carry out assassinations, and also to ready members who would also spread their message of forming an Islamic state by 2047. So these are some explosive findings by the NIA which has been mentioned in the charge sheet which has been submitted to the court here, Shivangi.
All right. And you know, as you tell all the details about that charge sheet, I also want to ask you that there are two PFI members the agency has their eye on. In fact, they have declared a reward of rupees 5 lakhs. Rupees 5 lakhs on two PFI members. If you could tell more details about the role the PFI is playing. The PFI is suspected to have played a very, very big role, creating terror, communal hatred and unrest in society. Prajwal.
Absolutely, Shivangi. Now, because we get to understand that out of the 20 people whom the NIA has filed charge sheet against, 14 of them have been taken into custody and 6 of them are still at large. The 3 main accused in this particular case is K. Masood, who carried out the assassination, Kodaje Sharif, who had planned this assassination, and Paichar, who carried out the recce. So these are the 3 main people who had gone on to plot the murder of Pravesh Nettaru and carry out the assassination. And the NIA has gone on to announce a reward of 5 lakh rupees each. And mainly when it comes to Paichar, he played a prominent role in acting as a connect between the state PFI leaders in Karnataka to the district presidents and also the block secretaries of the PFI from Bengaluru to Dakshina Kannada, because he was the one who used to go on, conduct these meetings with the state PFI leaders and pass on their message to the block presidents of the PFI, who in order would go on to form these hit squads which went on to assassinate Pravesh Nettaru. So Paichar's role was clearly established. Now Kodaje Sharif, this person, this particular person provided the entire logistical support, including bikes, weapons, places of hideout, food and shelter for the accused, even before the murder and after the murder as well. And K. Masood, who is the other accused in this particular case, was the one who carried out the assassination, and he was the first person to strike Pravesh Nettaru on his neck, immediately make him fall on the ground in broad public daylight, in full public view. So these are the 3 main accused in this particular case who are still at large, and the NIA have gone on to announce a reward of 5 lakh rupees, Shivangi.
Absolutely. And Prajwal, let's talk a little bit more about what the charge sheet says, because we also know that as per the charge sheet, a meeting of the PFI members and leaders was held at Bengaluru City. And we also know that they were instructed to identify, target a prominent member of a particular community. Now, what we know so far, when we talk about targeting the community, we know that especially Hindu leaders were targeted. Do we have any information on who these leaders were?
As of now, all these names have been kept under wraps, Shivangi, for the safety of these leaders as well. Both the RSS leaders as well as the Hindu leaders and the BJP leaders who had been mentioned here. But what we get to understand is that there were 4 potential targets who were identified here, because 2 of the targets who have already been named in the charge sheet, Prithviraj and Prashant, deposed in front of the NIA. They came in front of the NIA, recorded their statement stating that they too were being targeted and they felt that miscreants were following them on a Splendor bike, and these statements have already been recorded before the NIA too, and both of them, we get to understand, are leaders of the BJP Yuva Morcha. And from what we understand and from the CCTV footage that has been taken by the NIA, it is being understood that a recce was conducted by the PFI between July 24 to July 26th, and this finds a mention in page number 29 of the NIA charge sheet, which mentions that Prithviraj and Prashant were also being tailed by PFI members on bikes as well, and they too were potential targets. But somehow they went on to target Pravesh Nettaru because they felt that the impact of the murder would be such that people would be afraid to even come out of their houses, because he was a prominent name in the entire district of Dakshina Kannada, not only in Bellare, not only limited to Sulya, but across the entire district of Dakshina Kannada, and therefore they chose Pravesh Nettaru. But the names of the targets is not being revealed because of the personal safety of all these leaders who were under the zone of, who were under the target of the PFI. Shivangi.
All right, thank you, Prajwal, for getting us all the details. Prajwal getting us top details. Republic has accessed the charge sheet of Pravesh Nettaru murder case, and the charge sheet has very, very shocking revelations. It mentions service squads. I repeat, service squads and kill squads were used to assassinate Pravesh Nettaru. Thank you, Prajwal, and keep us ahead on the story.